So a proposal made by Glenmore Principal Dr. Marsha Smalling that Jamaican women should be granted 3 days in the first stages of their periods was made on International Women's Day. Proposal. Practical, achievable, attainable. Here to discuss pros and cons. We've got Mrs. Tanya Smith-Anderson, our Chief People Officer right here at the RJ Aglina Group. Morning. And Shona Fuller-Clark, Director and Co-Founder of Better Awareness and Support for Endometriosis or BASE. Ladies, good morning. Good to have you here. I want to start. It's an interesting, a senior member of the government who asked not to be named, says this article. That's very brave. That's a smart move. He said, many women, he said, in the same way that companies, I'm so sorry, I'm talking pure foolishness this morning. His essential position is, how would you know when women really have pain? And how are you going to give this because it's going to be abused? No, I see Shauna making up her face, but I see Mrs. Smith nodding. Is there any validity, let me start with you, Mrs. Smith, to this argument?
There is validity to the argument. However, if, for example, you were to put it into practice, if after the person has applied for, say, maternity, menstrual leave, sorry, and the application or the administration of the leave is determined in the coming month, in the next month. If you see Simone applying for menstrual leave 3 times, you're going to say, Simone, come here. Because we know that the normal female body is 1 time for the month. So you might want to start.
That is cut and dry.
Yeah, but
if I apply every month for 3 days,
so it is whether or not it's a policy or it's law. And as was recently passed in Spain, it's law. So if it is you are so compelled to apply, then you apply. What the law didn't speak to is for you to say, okay, you need to prove.
Right.
You don't need to prove. And it's like sick leave. If you are not well to come to work, you say, boss, I'm not coming in today because I'm not well.
The quote is, it would be difficult to know the need for leave and it could be abused. Many women would have a week off every month. Would that be acceptable to employers? Shauna, speak. Do me, I beg you, because you look like... Let it out, Shauna. Let it out.
I think that we cannot speak about this in black and white terms. There are some gray areas. So women are uniquely built, so we have our unique challenges. And one of the challenges that women have is endometriosis, which affects 1 in every 10. Now, it's not just period pain where there's discomfort, right? It's chronic pain, prolonged pain, crippling pain, debilitating pain, where you're unable to function. And this unable to function, it's not simply a kind of hunching over the table. It is, I'm spread out on the floor. I am vomiting. I have diarrhea. I black out sometimes. And, I'm just lying down. So these women are not able, physically able, because some women cannot walk. They physically are unable to go to work. And if they do go to work, and they're on some really strong pain medication, are they really functioning at work? So we hear productivity talks. If you have menstrual leave, then your productivity will be down. If these women are actually there, do you think they're working?
But someone would say, but not all women have endometriosis. They say women have gone through high school, they've gone through competition. Because if you're an athlete, and you have to, they've done all kinds of other activities with menstrual cycle being a normal part of it. So why should we now, when it gets to work, say, oh, give them 3 days?
Yeah,
I would say that women have been taught by society, by our families, to bear sometimes unnecessary heavy loads.
Push through.
We say it is normal, it's bad cramps, take 2 Panadol. We deal with a lot, and we admire women who are resilient as if it is our right to
Our load to
bear
carry.
all
Yes,
of this.
rite of passage.
Right? And there are women who go through life, but they're a large majority, 1 in 10, that just simply cannot function. And this is endometriosis, PCOS, adenomyosis, fibroids.
But Shauna, even people who don't, even women who do not have any of those diagnosable
Right.
illnesses have bad pain.
Right.
Like, I don't have PCOS, but I know what the nausea feels
Yeah.
like. I know what the back pain
Right.
feels like. I know what the diarrhea feels
Right.
like. And so I don't think it's unreasonable within, I guess, however you make the framework, to put something in place, Mrs. Smith, for women to be able to access. Because truly, Sean is right. We go to work, we can't function.
Right. One of the things, though, is that if we step back to where this all began, our social construct, which Shauna mentioned, is that tough it up, take to Panadol, push through. And it is not until in a quiet moment that you see the person cringing. Mm-hmm. But if a customer comes in, you're good again. Mm. The background to this is that from 1919 in India, there was a recognition that even if the symptoms were not yet diagnosed, it was recognized that you probably have to give a day to students to not take an exam and be allowed to take the exam when they're better. And it progressed from India, then it went to Russia, and then it went to Japan, where it is law. The thing is, we need to be open as employers to the conversation that this is something to be aware of. Yes, we know that it can be abused, but anything can be abused. It has to be managed. It is a recognition of it. And it is not unusual for a benefit that was once policy that becomes law that is applicable to one gender. Maternity leave is such an example.
Maternity leave is.
And now we are speaking about, because we are now more amenable to paternity leave. It's not law yet, but at least employers are having the conversation.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we're saying. It, no?
Yeah.
Some companies have actually
Some companies,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But what happens, like some people would say, okay, all right, so some women, so why not just apply for sick leave? Because not every woman can come and work.
And that is this construct that I'm saying, open yourself to the conversation, because in like Japan, so you have your days for sick leave and then you have the allotment for menstrual leave. Mm-hmm. You could also just extend sick leave. Right. But again, there is a conversation. And if you think about it, I want to be an optimist. Not all staff will abuse sick leave. Mm-hmm. Because you have staff that don't use all their sick leave, mm-hmm. or casual day or special leave. So it is just how it is managed, right? And even how it is applied in some jurisdictions. If it is you apply for the menstrual day and it doesn't affect your normal pay, but you might get a less amount for that day that you did not come in. Mm-hmm. So there are different variations.
That's what obtains now?
In some jurisdictions.
Really?
Yes.
But
yes.
why?
But why not?
But why?
That is what they are able to afford.
You're unwell.
It boils down to, in my opinion, whether a business owner, an organization, recognizes that when staff are well, they produce more. Right?
Cows give more milk.
Right?
Yes.
They produce more. And whatever this looks like, menstrual leave, 3 days, 1 day, full pay, half pay, in the world that we live in now, where there is labor shortage, right? But it's a space where it hasn't been easy. It's so easy to start a business online. It's so easy to freelance that there are choices now, right? So for women, I always say, look for a woman-friendly organization that understands these challenges, particularly if you have to have surgery for endometriosis, where you need 2, 3, 6 weeks. How do you deal with that? Look for places that maybe have started flexi work hours. So if there's no discussion or people are hard and fast on the menstrual leave, if we box it into the menstrual leave, then you'll have yes or no. But if you look at the general context to say flexi work hours,
Remote
right?
work.
Remote work. We in Jamaica, we didn't think we'd ever have remote work.
Oh, we
work
thought
from-
the companies would shut down if we ever did remote
Well,
work.
look at what happened out of necessity.
The COVID.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if women make their voices heard,
Yeah.
this is how I'm feeling. I cannot work. You look for women-friendly things. 4-day work weeks as well is a thing. So, yes.
All right.
I can't believe it. Anyway,
Yes.
half pay. Part of your money because of what's happening in your body? That's not right. That's right. Anyway, thank you, ladies. Discussion continues. Hopefully, we will get to a point where we're looking at policy and see whether something actually can be effected. Chief People Officer at the RJ Aglina Group, Tanya Smith-Anderson, and Director and Co-founder of Better Awareness and Support for Endometriosis, the Foundation, Shauna Fuller-Clark.
Coming up, we celebrate with the Caribbean Hotelier of the Year 2023.